This is why 2024 will be Arsenal's golden year. Arsenal vs Bayern Munich in the quarter-finals of the Champions League and the Gunners' first feature at this stage in 14 years. Yes, Arsenal fans have probably dreamt of having a little easier opponent before the eventual semi-finals and final in the tournament. They shouldn't be worried at all. Well, in this video, we'll try to convince you that Arsenal is really close to achieving something historic for the club and could actually come out as favourite against Bayern Munich. The win over Porto was massive for the team's expectations and capabilities. Not only that, it was an indicator of the mental level of Arteta's squad, trailing by 1 goal after the first leg against a strictly defensive side. The Gunners could have done the job much more easily without going into penalties, but the fact that they survived such a tough battle for 120 minutes against one of the most physically demanding teams in Europe can only suggest that Arsenal is ready for something big this season. On top of that, the team broke the psychological barrier after playing the round of 16 7 times in the last 14 years, but without reaching the quarters. But what are the team's chances of a Premier League title? Let's go back in time until December 2019, when club legend Mikel Arteta took over the team. Arsenal had a narrow success shortly after his appointment, winning the FA Cup and the Community Shield in 2020, which was a great start to his days at the Emirates Stadium. But, let's be honest, he didn't arrive for any short-lived success. He was the man the entire club's management staff inspired confidence in that he could take Arsenal back to its glory days. And it seems that gradually, step by step, Arteta is already starting to reap the fruits of success. But the path wasn't achieved easily. Not at all. In Arteta's first 2 seasons in charge, Arsenal finished 8th in the Premier League. In 2019-2020, the excuse was that the Spaniard came in mid-season and there wasn't enough time to climb higher in the standings. Well, in his first full campaign, the 2020-21 season, the situation was almost the same, again finishing 8th, but not that far away from qualifying for Europe, 3 points away from the Europa League and 6 from the Champions League. The progress at Arsenal was going agonisingly slow for fans, but with an almost certain formula for success. Then, in 2021-22, Arsenal made probably the biggest step towards the team we have right now. The Gunners have been favourites to qualify for the Champions League for a huge part of the season, but suffered a very tough 3-0 loss to Tottenham in the 36th round, which turned out to be a direct clash for 4th place. But still, Arsenal got from 8th the prior season to 5th in 2021-22, a significant improvement. During this campaign, however, everyone saw that Arteta's Arsenal really had the potential to be one of the biggest clubs in Europe. The foundations have been laid, with the likes of Martin Odegaard, Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Martinelli, Gabriel Magalhaes and Ben White already in the squad. And exactly those players could be said to be undoubtedly some of the best in their respective positions in 2024. How things can change in 2 years. 2022-23, one of those seasons that Arsenal fans wish they could never recall. The team raised the level one more bar, fighting fiercely with Man City for the English title. And they were actually doing surprise. After that, however, several consecutive disappointing results closed the gap of 8 points between the Gunners and the Citizens, and Man City ultimately won the title for the 3rd time in a row. And that brings us to the current 2023-24 season, which is without any doubt Arsenal's best since the 2009 team that reached the Champions League semi-finals with Van Persie, Theo Walcott, Cesc Fabregas and William Gallas in the squad. Well, what can we say about this Arsenal side right now? First off, they had some massive performances against some of the biggest teams in the Prem, winning against both their title contenders Man City and Liverpool earlier in this campaign. Also, do you know that Arsenal is actually the best performing side out of the big 6 teams, managing to win 3 and draw 3 games, bagging 12 points out of 18 possible compared to Liverpool's 7 and Man City's 6. On top of that, Arsenal is the best team in the top 5 European leagues in 2024, together with Inter, who both have a 100% win record since the start of the calendar year. And let's not overlook the fact that Arsenal is also the best attacking and defensive team in the Prem League, scoring the most and conceding the fewest with a goal difference of plus 46. And since we've probably overwhelmed you with so many stats, let's just say that there is barely any aspect in which Arsenal is not the best team in England. But what makes that team so effective, going from 8th just 3 years ago to one of the scariest teams in Europe, being in pole position for the Premier League title and in the quarters of the Champions League? Well, before we answer this very question, we kindly remind you to hit that subscribe button to never be late with our newest videos. The most obvious answer is of course Mikel Arteta. We may surprise you, however, that he was brilliant not only with his wonderful tactical approaches and techniques during those 4 years, but also with his transfer signings. In fact, he was the man who was responsible for bringing in every single player in his time at the Emirates Stadium, from the first major transfer being Gabriel Magalhaes to the latest, David Raya. Of course, this wouldn't have happened if he didn't have the full support of the management and the financial freedom. As important as Arteta's brilliant tactical skills are, it is a fact that money played a major role in Arsenal's rebuild. And although it's not very common knowledge, the Gunners are actually the second highest net spenders in the Prem over the course of the last 4 years, only behind Chelsea and far ahead of title rivals Man City and Liverpool, £462 million compared to Liverpool's 250 and City's 237 million. Despite the big spending, however, Arsenal and Arteta achieved something significant in a far shorter period than Man United, for example, with the Red Devils struggling a lot to make that anticipated revival. So yeah, we've come to the conclusion that Arsenal is in this state right now mainly because of Mikel Arteta. On the other hand, his skills as a coach have really evolved before our eyes, and clearly the years spent as Pep Guardiola's assistant coach are starting to pay off. Arteta's Arsenal has a modern style of play, and his football is truly some of the most beautiful in Europe. He's brought the tactic of attacking with 2 sharp wingers in the likes of Gabriel Martinelli and Bukayo Saka, and defending with 2 quick central defenders, Magalhaes and William Saliba. These were perhaps the 2 changes that set the basis of the change. With them, Arteta could afford to press the opponent in his own penalty area, and in a case of any counter-attack, the Spanish knew that his team is not in real danger, because his defenders were quick enough to cover the empty spaces. Furthermore, the next important step was the integration of a typical number 10. At the end of the day, who said this position, which was part of almost every big club in the 2000s and 2010s, has disappeared in recent years? Yes, these statements could be appropriate for the overall development of football, but not for Arsenal under Arteta. Odegaard was literally born to be a 10, and is without a doubt the best creator in the team. Stats show that he's had the most chances created in all the 3 seasons since coming from Real Madrid on a permanent deal in 2021. His brilliant vision for the game was evident in the round of 16 match against Porto when he delivered a stunning assist for Leandro Trossard. This season, Arsenal plays probably its most effective football for almost 2 decades, and a big reason for this is the team's most expensive signing ever, Declan Rice. The Englishman is truly remarkable with the ball, and his defensive work is world class. However, this doesn't stop him from being dangerous in attack as well. Even though we're only at the end of March, Rice has 12 goals to his credit, a personal best for him so far in his career. But what does Arsenal need to achieve something extraordinary this season, and what are their chances? Firstly, we have to start with a match against Man City on the 31st of March, which will be the game that will surely determine the end of the season for the Gunners. A win at the Etihad, and the confidence for Arsenal will go sky high, 10 days before the big first leg of the Champions League against Bayern Munich. And what to say about Harry Kane, Leroy Sané, Joshua Kimmich and co? Well, Bayern definitely had some struggles lately, losing 3 consecutive games in February. However, given the fact that the team would most probably fail to win the title this season, and is also out of the German Cup, the Champions League remains the only chance for the Bavarians to dodge the trophyless chance at the end of the campaign. That's why we expect a very tough battle between 2 amazingly talented teams. But, as many great coaches have said, it's all about your form in March and April. That's when you pick up your momentum and make a run to the final. So, if we're to conclude from these words, Arsenal definitely have a point here. So yeah, Mikel Arteta's team is more than ready to make a dream run at the Champions League or Premier League. And why not win both at the end of the season? And if you're a superstitious kind of person, just look at Arsenal's home jersey this season. It's like written in the books that the Gunners will have a golden season this year. If you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to leave a like, subscribe and give your opinion on the topic. Also, don't forget to click on some of our latest videos. Bye for now, and catch you in the next one.